Welcome to this segment, and in this segment we are going to discuss that if the user has entered the product in this form. So we have said that the action is supposed to take place in the product added.php. So that file has not been created at the moment. So if I click on this add, it is not going to give me any input, it's not going to give me any output. So for example, I do this, you can see it is going to take me to not found. Why? Because that file is not already created. Now I'm going to create that file so that when the user enters the data in this form, is going to get when he submits it using the add button, is going to the form the product added.php file is going to be called. Okay, now we are going to create a new file. So I'm just going to create a new file here, new, and then this file is going to be called product added underscore added.php. So that is the product name. Okay, then it is going to be added in the same directory, in shops directory. So I'm just going to create. Okay, now I'm just going to create this very fast, so that okay, so we have that HTML, then we have the head. Okay, so in the head section, basically in this case we are just going to call the links for the reels, the CSS that you have just created, because it's just the similar things that you're going to use in this case. Nothing new is going to change, so we are just going to make sure we reuse the CSS files that you just created. So type is equal to text CSS stroke CSS, then we have href is equal to CSS stroke main dot CSS. So that is the one that is going to be called first. Then we just copy this, just copying this, copy this, and then you can also paste it here, and then just change here to be form styling, form underscore styling. We have already created these CSS files in our previous videos, and therefore we are just going to replicate that. After that, you just go to body. Okay, now in the body section, you're just going straight to create the first div. So the first div, we're just using the same name container. We're going to use the same name container so that we reuse the code. Okay, then we're also going to use div ID. Remember, we created this content in our previous video, so we are just going to reuse it. Okay, so inside the container, the content div, now that is where we're going to enter the following code for PHP. So we're just going to say PHP. So we can close it down there, then we can just enter in so that we can be able to add the first one. So we are going to have the first one, require once config. Remember, we said that each and every file that we create, this particular file must be added first, because it is going to determine whether we are going to have the SQL connection or not, the database connection or not. So it's still undefined. Okay, so okay, require once. Then when I save it, I think it is config.php. It's okay. Yeah, so I think it will just be okay as we move further. I'm going to say if, okay, if so we're going to check if is set. If is set that is just but a statement that checks whether con in the configuration config.php, and okay, let me just go back, is set, and then we are giving an array name. We are creating an associative. Inside this associative array, we're going to create a parameter called post. So we're creating this parameter $_post, and then submit. So submit is the button that is going to submit. So if is set, everything is set. So we are going to call this associative array with the parameter called post, and then we are going to call the name of that button called submit. Okay, so after all this has been set, then what you are supposed to do, this is what you are going to do. Okay, so this particular statement, $null underscore field is equal to array. So this statement is just trying to check if these particular all these particular elements that are there in the form have been filled. So it's just to check everything that has been stored in that array, if it's actually going to be assigned to this variable that has just been created. So this is just a variable name that has been created, and this is our array. Remember, we're talking about the associative array. So this is our associative array, and therefore in this case it's going to check if all the fields have been added, and if all the fields have been completed, then we are going to continue to the next segment. Okay, but if it in case it's not filled, then this is what is going to happen. So we are going to say that remember, we have just opened it. We are within that particular same if statement. So we are just going to say that if empty, if any element is empty, if empty in the associative array, if empty in the associative array. Okay, so what are you supposed to do? First of all, we are supposed to check the product name. We are supposed to check the product name. Where are we getting these names? They are the names that have been used in the form. So the elements that are used in the form have been given names. So these are the names of the elements that have been used in the form. So this one is, we are going to say open bracket, open curly bracket. If this one is empty, null, we call that function up there, that variable up there, null field. And this null field, we are going to assign the product name to that null field. Okay, we are going to assign the product name to that null field. So the product name, okay, so I can just say product name. We're going to give it a product name. Okay, then that is it. After that, we just go to the next else, we just say else, and then you can just say that $sign product, $sign product ID, product name, $sign product name is equal to trim, $sign trim, I mean trim, it's not $sign trim, just just a way to cut the string. So string, and then we just say post. So you are supposed to insert this particular value to, so we are saying that here the product ID, the product name that you have been given. So in case it's empty, can you assign the value? But if else, what you are supposed to do, can you be able to post that results to So you are supposed to post that result to product name. You're supposed to post that result to product name. Product name underscore name. Yeah. So if in case it's empty, the product name is supposed to post the results to that particular element at that particular index. Yeah. So but if it is everything is okay, you just go ahead and post it in that associative array. Very good. Now we are done with that statement, and then you can see it's something that is just recurring. Let me do this because this one is more of an is more of an integer, so it is quite different a little bit. So you can just say if empty, okay, if empty, and then you can just open the brackets again, and then we're going to call our associative array. We're calling in our associative array, and then we're using the word post, and then we can just say in there, do what? Post what? Unit price. Unit underscore price. Okay. Now in this case we are going to assign, in this case you are going to check if that particular field has been filled. If it's empty, then what are you supposed to do? If that field is empty, then this is what you're supposed to do. You open the curly bracket, and then you say there $sign null field is equal to unit price. So unit price, I think you can just write unit price, doesn't have any problem. Unit price. Okay. Then else you are supposed to give us the you're going to give us this value. Else you are going to say that unit price, $sign unit price, $unit price is equal to then you can just say $. We are not going to trim here. We're just going directly to call the associative array, and then we post the results. So post, and then we just say post unit price, unit underscore price. Okay. So that is the value that we are giving in this case. After doing that, we just move to the next product. So this one you are just going to add the semicolon, and then it has been closed here. So whatever is remaining basically is just the same type like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just copying this starting from this point going up. So this is just similar to what we have been doing. So this one, just going to copy this starting from here like this. So I copy this, and then I come here, I paste. Now if I paste here, it is going to give me if the product name. So this is not product name, it's supposed to be, in fact this one should be quantity. So the next should be quantity, therefore I just need to copy this unit price because they are the same. So I copy this, I paste it here, and then I just change here to be quantity, and then if null, and then you can just give the name here quantity. For example, I can just write full quantity, and then I can just say else, then unit price. No, it's not unit price, it's supposed to be quantity, QTY, and then here we are supposed to call quantity, QTY, like that. Very good. Now the next thing to do is just to copy the first one because they are related. So I just copy this. The first one is product ID here, so product name. So I'm copying the product name up to there, and then I come here, I paste it here. Good. Then after that I just change the name, just say description, then here you can just use the name like description. Yes, description. So what are we doing in this case? We are saying post, and then we have given it the value. Okay, we have said $sign post, and then the unit price, and then quantity. We have also done the quantity part of it, and then now we are dealing with the description. Remember, this is opening and double quotation, single quotation, and closing single quotation. Then you come here, you are supposed to change this one to description, the way it is written up there. Yeah, and then you just say stream, and then you just say description. So here is supposed to be description. Good. So after that, the next thing to do is just to bring in the last one, that is category. So category, we are also going to deal with category in this manner. So we have nothing different from what you have been doing in category. So I'm just going to paste again, but I'm going to change here to category. I'm going to change here to category, and then make sure you have the opening the single quotes and closing single quotes. It's null, and then you get rid of this. Sorry, Control Z, go back. I just want to remove this category. I write category in capital letters. Category. Okay, in capital C. Capital C. It's supposed to be like that, and then I go here. I want to change the else. I want to assign the new value to this variable here. So the variable name is category in small letters. Category, and then I can't trim it because it's already predefined the size. So I'll get rid of this part and also delete this part, but the square remains, the square bracket remains. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to change here category. So I'm going to get rid of this and then write there category, like that. Good. So I think there is an error here. So they're saying unexpected name after this. So what is the problem here? Yes, I think I've seen the problem. So here we need to have closing single quote, then the error disappears. So I've been able to capture, in case there is a null field, in case there is a null field, that is how you can be able to make sure that you call that particular, you can be able to assign a value. In case it's empty, you can assign a value. So this is just statements that can help you to check if in case a field is empty, it will give you an opportunity to fill in the value. Now we have done the check, and therefore we need to go to the next part, and that is now to insert the values to the database. So what are we supposed to do? We just need to go to our, at the end of this statement, we are supposed to go up to the end of this statement, and therefore we have just started, we already did this, we are still under this is set. So we just need to click enter, and then we just type there if empty, if empty. So let me just confirm that all the fields have been has been entered. So I can say that if empty, if null is still empty, yeah, so $sign, if that variable is still empty, $sign null field. Remember you created null field above, so in case it is still, if it is empty, yeah, what are you supposed to do? Empty, then you just put that. So we can just say null you can just say dollar sign null is equal to null variable is equal to null. So what is happening in this case is that, remember that our primary key is auto increment, so this particular space is just to tell you that you are not going to enter any value. It's going to be automatically generated by the browser. It's going to be generated by the program itself. Okay, so after you have said that and you have checked that everything has been entered, the next thing to do is just under that you just enter the value. So you just write dollar sign SQL is equal to insert into product, insert into product. Remember, product is our database, is our table name, values, and then you just put the opening bracket, and then you just write there null dollar sign null variable first, so you're going to insert null variable, and I've said null variable is meant to help you to capture the auto increment. Then you are supposed also to capture the product name, and then you're also supposed to capture the unit name, the unit price, and then you're also supposed to capture the quantity, and then you're also supposed to capture the description. So I've already defined all these variables at the top there, so it's not going to be an issue. Description, maybe I can also move it down so that it doesn't stretch a little bit, so it can be there. So I can just say that description I've also been able to add, and then you have the last one, category, dollar sign category, like that. And then after doing that, you just close the double quotations. You just need to close the double quotation. So what is happening in this case is that we have got the opening double quotation at the moment, hapa mbele, and then we have the closing double quotation, and then you put a semicolon, and then you move to the next line, and in this line we are going to say if my SQLi query is and then you put the parameters. The parameter is con, and the other one is SQL. Okay, so if these parameters for querying the database, so in case everything is not exactly, this is supposed to be not. Okay, so this implies that if anything is wrong in your SQL, okay, so do this, die. Okay, die. And what are you going to do after dying? You're going to give us an error. And that error is going to be concatenated with SQLi error into bracket $con. Okay, so this is just to tell you that in case there is an error, then you're supposed to display it as an error. Otherwise, outside the if statement, you're supposed to echo product added successfully. Okay, so that's the statement that is going to be displayed in case you have entered everything and everything is okay. Okay, otherwise you let it die. Okay, Then you say MySQLi close. Just remember this is just a function, and then you just put there $con. Okay, so that will enable you to bring an end or to terminate the execution. Okay, now else in case everything is intact, okay, else what are you supposed to do? You echo you entered, so double quotes, you said you need to enter the following data, missing data. So you're giving us an array of values that are missing in our main array. Okay, so then you can add br in front here so that you can be able to state them. As you go down like that. Then you put the semicolon at the end. You go to the next line. Now for each is supposed to help us to display those fields that are empty. So you say $null field. Okay, so it is going to give us the null field that you have been able to find. So you're going to get the null fields that you've already found up there, and then you display them down here. So you're going just to say echo, and then you just say null field, then say you concatenate. So you concatenate with the break. So you break it down like that. Then you put a $sign or a double quote like that, and then you close that statement by using the semicolon at the end of there. Okay, so this statement is just helping us to ensure that in case you have some errors or some fields have not been filled, then you need to tell us, you need to inform us where exactly is the problem, and therefore so that we can go to act accordingly. Okay, so there's something here that I'm not happy the way it is, so I can add this statement again, require once. Okay, then we are supposed to put the file that we are going to need. Okay, so let me go back here, check how we call that statement. So it's supposed to be in quotes. It's supposed to be in quotes, so I've not been able to put in quotes. I think that's why I'm seeing it having an error. So I think that is very much okay. Now we have removed that error up there. Good. Okay, now going down here, we are going to add. We have already done that up to the end. Now how can you be able to tell if you have been able to do the right thing? If you have been able to do the right thing, you should have 3 closing bracket, curly bracket down here, and then closing PHP. So this implies that you have done it correctly. But in case you have got maybe 2 closing curly bracket, it means there is somewhere maybe you were able to confuse the if statements. Remember, we are dealing with many nested if statements, and therefore it can really be tiresome for you to be able to handle. So just be careful that every time you are dealing with those kind of many nested if statements, you are very careful on how you can be able to execute them. Now the last thing to do is just to add the HTML part of it, the form. Okay, so let me just terminate this here. Remember, this is a content div, so I've finished the content div. I want to move outside the content div so that I can go to enter the form that we created previously, but now we just need to ensure that everything is intact. So action is equal to product added, opening double quotation, product added .php. Okay, then you can just say method is equal to post method is equal to post. Okay, then inside there we can just say div, just say div id is equal to header. The same thing that we did in the previous part is just being repeated in this case. So I just want to go a little bit faster, so we can just say h3, and then you can just say add new product, add new product. Okay, like that. Then you can say just say h3. Okay, so that div is done. Move to the next div. So after that div, we just say div. Next div is that we are going to have the button. Div id is equal to btn add. Okay, so after doing that, you open it, and then we are going to have an href. Href is equal to index.html, index.php, and then view members, view products. Good. And then after doing that, you just close that anchor link, anchor tag. Very good. And after doing that, we go to the last one. The next part is that we are going to add the labels now. I'm going to add the label is equal to a label for is equal to. Now the names that you are going to use in this space must be the same names that are being used in these brackets. Okay, so these names, you can see the names that are being used as a post here. They are the same names that you are going to use in those form elements. So we are going to specify that here we are going to use product name. Make sure that this is in double quotation. So product name. Okay, and then we close that. And then we just say product name. So the name is product name, like that. Okay, then we just close the label. You press enter, you bring in the input type is equal to text. Input type is equal to text, and then we are going just to make sure that we give it an ID. Give it an ID of product name, product underscore name. So that's the product ID, and then we give it a name of product name, product underscore name. Okay, exactly the way it is used there. You need to make sure that you use the same way. Then you can give it a maximum length. I'm going to give it a maximum length of 80. Give it a maximum length of 80, and then you close the bracket, the angle bracket. So I can just copy this and replicate 4 times. So copy this, and then you can just replicate 1, that is 2, 3, 4. Okay, so can I have this again, copy, and then you just paste it here so that you move faster. So here we are just going to make some changes. So this one, remember, is product, not the one that I've just written. So it's supposed to be product name. So here we are supposed also to change. You're supposed to change here to unit price. So here is supposed to be unit price. So just change here to unit price, and then make sure that also you change here the label to unit price, Then here text, it's not supposed to be text, this is supposed to be number. Okay, and then the number we give the ID of unit price, unit underscore price, like that. And then also the name is going to use the same, unit underscore price, unit underscore price. And then the length, I don't need the length, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Then you come here, you're supposed just to change this part also, quantity, QTY, and then you can write quantity in full here because it's a label, quantity, okay. And then you move to the next one. Here is supposed to be number, okay, and then here is supposed to be quantity, QTY, yeah. Then here also you're supposed to use QTY. Okay, then here we are supposed to remove the maximum length, don't need it, maximum length, you don't need it. Then the next one is the description. So we are going to work with the description. We are going to change this to description, and then here you are supposed to change also to description. Okay, then after that you just need to make sure that this is text, and then your ID you are supposed to use description, like that. And then you also need to have description here, description like that. Okay, then you can have it like that. Then the last one to add in this case is the last statement to add in this case is the category one. So category, so that is the last thing to add here, and therefore I can just type in the label, but now the label I can just fetch it, so I will just copy this so that I save time. Okay, so I can just change here to be category, small letters, category, and then the label, make sure you change the name to category, like that. Good. Then after doing that, we bring in the select box. So select is equal to select ID. Select ID is equal to that. So we are going to use the name category. Okay, then we are going to use the name is equal to category again. Okay, then we are going to close that, and then you enter now the options. So option, and then you give it a value. Give it a value of plus, okay, and then we have the plus here, and then we just put closing option tag, and then you just copy this. So I just copy this statement here, like that, and then I paste it here, and then I paste it there. So what is going to happen in this case, we just change the names. So I change here to drinks, and then I change here to drinks, and then I change here to soaps, and then I can also be able to change here to soaps. Good. Okay, by so doing I've been able to wrap up that part, and then the last thing to do is just to add a button. So input type is equal to submit, name is equal to submit, then value is equal to add, like that. Perfect. Good. So everything is okay and everything is in order. So I save this. So the only thing that was a little bit tedious is this part whereby we are trying to capture, to check first, we validate if the form has been filled. After validating the form that has been filled, you are going to insert the values. After inserting the values, the next thing to do is just to ensure that everything is in order. So there is a problem here. Yes, here there's a problem. $sign. Make sure you add the $sign. It's not similar to what we have before. So this one, make sure to have the $sign. Very good. So everything has been done correctly. So this is the code starting from stop to finish. In case you miss something, you just go back to this code. You can just rewind to check the video again, see where the problem is, and then you execute. Now if I save this, I just want to go to my code and check if everything is running. Now I want to go back to my original index.php. So let me go back to index.php. So it's here. Okay, so this is my index.php page. So when I click here and then I enter a product, for example, I want to enter sugar. Maybe sugar is not in our category. Maybe I can say maize flour. Let me say maize flour. Okay, then the unit price, we can say it is 250. And then the quantity, we want it, maybe the already quantity is 4 or 34. Let me say 10. Then the description, we say good flour. Let's say it's good flour, and then we can just choose to be flour, and then we can try to add that product here. So you can see there is an error. They're telling us that there is an error that in line 30, operator not supported for strings in line 30. So there is an error in line 30. So let me go back to my code in line 30. So line 30 is here, and that is perfect. You can see there is an error here. Okay, so I think this part is not meant to be there, because if I check my previous code, that part is not there, and therefore there is no need for you to have it there. So I'm just going to delete that, and then I save this. I go back, refresh, and then I say continue. You can see, yes, the product has come, but now there is a problem. Yeah, you can see there is a problem. They're saying that for each argument, so you can say you need to enter the following missing data. So they're saying that for each argument must be over type array object string given, okay, in line 51. So let me just go there and then check. You can see, but everything is now running up and running. So let me go back to my code and go back to my code. Line 51. Line 51, there is a problem. Okay, so they are saying that in this case line 51 for each. Okay, so they are saying for each there is an error there. Okay, so we are saying here we are using the same name. So we are saying null field, and here we are saying null field. So one should be different. So we can use the name null fields here. Maybe I can use null fields in that case, so that it can be different from the other, because this one I've been using all along, starting from the first to going down. So that is how you can solve that. Once you have specified that this is supposed to be null fields in line 51, the next thing to do is just to change this to line 51 to be null fields. Okay, so that you capture that statement. Now the next thing to do is just to refresh, see if the code has been executed. Okay, so there, let me try again. Line 51, we have got a problem again in product line 51. Okay, so let me go back as, okay, let me try this. Okay, save this, refresh this. So there is an error, two errors in this set. You're saying that undefined variable null fields in this case. Then they're saying for each must be of type array, and then the line should be like this. So there's a problem with this defining the array the way it's supposed to go. Let me work around it. Okay, so I have realized that there is an error that you have done here. That remember, we had defined this as an array. Yeah, so maybe even I can use null field the way it was, but now every time I want to call it, I need to put this square bracket because it is an array. Okay, we are assigning the array to it, so this variable is of an array type. So I need to make sure that in each and every area that I'm going to use it, I make sure that it has the square bracket. It also has the square bracket here. I'm just trying to move things the way it was, because I've realized it can't run unless we do this. Okay, so here we are just removing the s and then we're using that. So here we are saying null fields, so let's bring it back to null field. Okay, so I think everything is set. So we are back in our for each here. So in our for each here, we are just saying, maybe for example, I can just change the name. Let me use the name like field. Let me just use the name like field here. Use the name like field. Yeah. So that is the name that I'm going to use for this area. Okay. Okay, so this one is also a variable. I need to make sure that it has the dollar sign there. So I think everything has been set. Let me try to check this again if it's going to run. Okay, so if I do this and then I just put it, yeah, errors have been increased. So we are having the type conversion. Okay, so line 52, we have moved from line 51, we are going to line 52. We are saying array to string conversion. Array to string conversion, line 52. Having errors in line 52. All of them are in line 52. So going to line 52 is here. Okay, so they are telling us in line 52 there is an error. Okay. Okay, so I've cleared the error, but the error is here. So I think the error is here. Here we are using null field. It was already written there, null field like this. So in case you are using null field, it cannot run because it's as if you have not been able to assign this associative array to the new variable that you've just created. Therefore it cannot be able to work, because if you echo now, it is bringing a lot of confusion between the two variables that you have here. So if you just change it to null, the fields that you've just created, these fields, you change it to these fields, you can see, and then you just save it, and then you go and refresh it, you realize that the error will disappear automatically. The error is going to disappear automatically. Now you can see everything is okay. So here the error is saying that you need to enter the following missing data. So product name is missing, unit price is missing, quantity is missing, and price, and that is missing. So basically in this case we just need to do that quickly, that we enter the data here. So we are going to enter maize flour. We are going to enter the unit price to be 250. We're going to enter to the quantity to be 400. We're going to enter the description to be good flour, and then the category is supposed to be flour, and then you press enter. So by clicking here, you can see here the output is that the product has been added successfully. Okay, so the product has been added successfully, and that is it. Okay, now if you go back to our landing page, you click on this view product, you go back to our landing page, you should be able to see that product perfectly added into our database. So that is how you can create a product management system. Thank you so much for watching me. It has been a series of tutorials. Kindly go through anywhere you have not understood. Please go to the comment section, let me know where the problem is so that we can sort. Bye bye for now.